Not long ago, on January 27th, together with many all over the world, we marked International Holocaust Remembrance Day. In many cities in Greece, Yanina, Saloniki, Larissa, Volos, to name just a few, Jewish communities, together with local authorities, gathered to mark the day. Last week in Kavala and Xanthi, through an exhibition and the unveiling of a monument. Another step in the commemoration effort was taken. Today, here in Kalamata, as the Greek presidency of IRA, affected among other reasons by the pandemic, comes to an end, we are here hopefully to learn from the past and to safeguard the future. The thoughts I wish to share today concern learning, remembering, and responsibility. They are the essential pillars to safeguard the future, to learn from the past, and ensure that humanity, our civilization, is better than it was, maybe better than it is, especially these days. This is IRA's mission. This is the idea behind its inception. Countries wishing to lead IRA, be part of it, we welcome North Macedonia, which joined during Greece's presidency, should remember it. As Greece was about to take over, we shared some ideas aimed at making a difference. We should continue our cooperation in the time to come. Our mission and work is not limited in time, and it's not done yet. On learning, it is the Jewish thinker Ahad Ha'am, Asher Ginsberg, who more than 100 years ago, in his essay about the birth of Jewish nationalism, wrote that without the past, without learning and knowing the past, there can be no identity, personal or collective. There can be no future. The Holocaust, an eternal tragedy of the Jewish people, an indelible scar on humanity, histories, and conscience, should be a reflection in the mirror of our collective gaze, raising questions such as how was it possible? How come so many cooperated? How come many turned a blind eye? How come what is defined as the international community, proved to be powerless or indifferent in standing against evil and did not put an end to it? There are many more questions, asked or whispered. Few ask themselves how would they react if and when faced with such an existential dilemma. The importance of learning is knowing to ask the necessary questions, as if we lived then on this soil of Europe. Then and now. On remembrance, in the past hour of Haggadah, the Pesach Haggadah, there is the thoughtful sentence saying, at each generation one should tell. Yes, at each generation one should tell the story, to remind, to remember. It's a moral, educational challenge to tell the story, to keep researching and studying, to preempt and prevent forgetfulness. Yad Vashem, whose chairman will participate later on today, is committed to remembrance. The State of Israel, born only a few years after the end of World War II, is committed to remembrance, and we do remember. Generations have passed. That past may be distant to some, but the memory, the lesson, is imprinted in us. In his most powerful novel, Shoah Shelanu, Our Holocaust, Israeli novelist and author Amir Gutfreund discusses living with the Holocaust in the life of the second generation growing up in Israel. Born to a family which has not experienced the Holocaust personally or physically, growing up in Israel in the 60s, I can feel and identify and share the experience of discovering and learning about the horrific tragedy. It did happen. The survivors with numbers on their arms, the agony on people's faces, the silence, nothing worse than silence. This part of remembrance, and this is remembrance. This is the proof against denial and the rewriting of history. As so many questions are left unanswered, the one which occupies me the most is how was it possible? How could humanity go bankrupt and reach such a nadir? Maybe a journey into José Samarago literature, especially the novel on blindness of the Portuguese Nobel Literature laureate, can give us an insight into human weaknesses, failures and shortcomings. I must admit, German literature from that period included, especially the beautiful novels of Hans Falleda, revealed to me an uneasy explanation, the fall of a known order, the collapse of values, political polemics, and the easy use of fear, hate, to achieve political goals. This literature gives us a glimpse into the social background, maybe political too, but not necessarily the ideology, which is behind it. No one learning history should underestimate or ignore the role of ideology as extreme as it may be. We need to learn about the past, to understand human nature, as Professor Yuda Bauer is teaching us, the bestial nature, to understand how this extermination machine could have happened and to ensure it never happens again. The last thought at the start of this conference is about responsibility, how we transform the importance of learning, remembrance, into an action plan. If I may, making the world better, safer. We vow never again. We hear it so often. This is a powerful vow. How are we going to make it true? Do we make it true? Have we seen an end to persecution and discrimination? Have we uprooted prejudice and hate? For me, a patriot of my own homeland, my identity as an Israeli, my Jewish heritage as embodied in the character of the State of Israel, provide the necessary guarantee we will never again be targeted or victimized. Ensuring Jewish life, the State of Israel, the diaspora, is a stated commitment. It's a way of life. Our responsibility doesn't only end with us. The lesson I draw is to care for the foreigner, the Gentile, the neighbor, our civilization. I congratulate the organizers by expanding the agenda to include the suffering of others. But there should be no doubt, no misunderstanding. The Holocaust is and will remain an historic event, not comparable to anything else, while responsibility is beyond our immediate tent. Thank you very much.